gotta dream it, like you mean it. Embrace the vision, no need to conceal it. Feeling as a beast, the colors so bright. Aim for the stars, reach new heights. Align your life, don't let it design you. Chase your dreams, make them all come true. Dance to the rhythm, move with the beat. You're the creator, get up on your feet. Yeah, you gotta dream it, like you mean it. Embrace the vision, no need to conceal it. Daydream as the beast, the colors so bright. Aim for the stars, reach new heights. Design your life, don't let it design you. Chase your dreams, make them all come true. Dance to the rhythm, move with the beat. You're the creator, get up on your feet.
Boom! What's happening? What's up? What's good? Peace, peace, peace. Let me turn this music down for a little bit. Welcome to the first ever Design Your Life podcast. I'm so excited to have you guys here with me. I'm so excited to get this thing started. And I'm bursting with energy today because today is the first day, but it's also an opportunity to reach out to you guys in a way that I haven't before. So I'm really excited. I'm excited about the guests that we have. And just to kind of start off, I just want to make sure you understand what this show, podcast, conversation is all about. So it's called Design Your Life. It's an opportunity really to share and teach and give some exposure to the viewers out there in terms of the importance of designing your life. And for me, it really just touches my heart in terms of designing a life, because for many of us, we just kind of live our lives and accept what's there and what's given to us and what's expected. But many of us don't lead our lives and design it around the things that we love and the things that will give us an opportunity to live a life worth living. And that's really what it's all about. So, my overall goal in general for this podcast is really to allow as many people as possible to not have the excuse of saying, I didn't know. I didn't know. No one told me. No one cared enough to share with me how you go about designing your life. So, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to expose you to some extraordinary people that have already done it. Some people who have already successfully designed their lives. And, for me, it's about learning. It's an opportunity to not only learn, but explore and expose you to some of the tips and tricks and some of the experiences and the journeys of the people that have already done it. And, I'm really excited to get it started. And, today, man, first of all, this is episode number 1. Our guest doesn't know it. Well, he knows it now, but today is our first episode of Design Your Life. So I'm excited for that. And we have an extraordinary guest, and I want to do him proper. I want to make sure I bring him in properly. So, I just want to let you guys know a little bit about the guest that we have for today. He's a father, he's a husband, athlete, engineer by trade, high school principal in Newark, New Jersey. He's an entrepreneur, has degrees from St. Peter's University and New York University. He's the creator and writer of the Afrofuturism comic book series, PB Soldier. You got to check that out. He's a 2-time Glyph Comic Awards and Urban Action Showcase nominee. He's the founder of New Jersey's very own Black Comic Book Festival, Chem Comic Fest. He's the director, writer of the PB Soldier, the Awakening short film, director, writer of the PB Soldier animated short. He's also family. He's my cousin, the phenomenal, the creative, incredible Naseed Gifted. Naseed Gifted in the house with us. What's happening, brother?
Peace and blessings, everyone, man. Thank you for that. I'm looking around and I'm like, man, who are you talking about here, man? You're talking about me, man. So
yeah,
I'm super ecstatic. Thank you for having me on your Design Your Life podcast. So I definitely appreciate it. I'm looking forward to sharing my story, sharing this journey, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. And really, I really want this to be just a conversation. We're family, literally family, but this is just a conversation. There's also teachable moments. But before I start, also, I think it's important, not only for you, but for everyone to know really why I felt it was important for you to be the first guest. And in my opinion, your brand represents the future. It represents the future. I mean, designing your life realistically, to me, and you look around, right? Designing life is really where we're going. I mean, people aren't following the status quo anymore. Get the job and work for 20, 30, 40 years. It's artificial intelligence. It's working from home. It's creating. It's building communities and partnerships. So it was really important for me to have someone in that first bang off episode that represents that, but also as a father, it represents really the direction I really want my children to hopefully move into when we talk about STEM and the future and technology and being creators themselves. So, I'm so happy and appreciative that you're blessing us today with your presence.
Hey man, hey, thank you for having me, man. I mean, first of all, congratulations on the first of
Oh yeah,
many podcasts. So we want to definitely celebrate that.
yeah,
And here, not by chance, by design, as you look at, just designing your life, just kind of some decisions that I made early on to get to this point, man. And it came with discipline. It came with living my life the way I needed to live it in order to be able to set up the future and the legacy for my generation and the generations that follow.
for sure, for sure. Well, look, we ain't gonna waste too much time. I don't want to dance on. We're gonna jump right into it. So for those who don't know Naseed Gifted, take us back, do a rewind, take us back to the beginning, where you were born, raised, what your childhood was like, what it smelled like, felt like growing up.
Well, I mean, for me, born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, Newark native, and being born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, to mother and father. Early on, my parents were together. Probably I believe when I turned 8 years old, my parents separated. So that kind of changed the dynamic of my household and everything. I was fortunate enough that my grandparents lived 3 doors down for me. So when my mother went to work and she worked at nights, I pretty much we stayed with me, my brother, my sister stayed with my grandparents, and then on the weekends, of course, went back to my mother's house. And very curious, very adventurous. Just got into a whole lot of things. The difference with now in our generation, we actually played outside. So we played outside,
Right.
learned the little things, and we built bow and arrows out of sticks, bottle cap guns. I think that was the beginning of me wanting to get into finding out how things work, which led me later on in life to becoming an engineer. And that was pretty much my journey in high school. My sophomore year, I had an experience where I was one of 10.
Don't give them too much. Don't give them too much yet, because I'm gonna get
Okay.
there. I'm gonna get there. But
All right.
before we jump out of your childhood, I wanted to know. I'm curious. What were some of your early influences as a kid? I mean, obviously, you jumped into engineering, and that's cool. But what were some of your influences as a kid?
Oh man, I mean, shoot, Saturday morning cartoons,
Okay.
karate flicks,
Uh-huh.
and family. Family was a big part of what we was doing.
Mhm.
I was home based in Newark, but I had a large family over in Philly that we used to go
Mhm.
visit in the summers and everything. That's where your
Right.
father and my great aunt and everyone on that side of the family. That was my grandfather's side,
Yeah.
and then I had family, on my father's side as well. So family was a big part of my childhood, just growing up. Just taking, learning, and shaping who I am today.
Got it. Got it. And what were some of the things you really like to do? I know cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons, but what were some of the things that you love to do and even dreamed about as a kid? What that look like?
Oh man, I mean, we used to ride bikes, man. We used to ride bikes, we used to ride skateboards, we used to build clubhouses, we used to build ramps. And
Yeah.
I mean, of course, before cell phones and everything, we used to ride our bikes until we couldn't ride no more, and then made sure we made it back before it turned dark, without our
Uh,
parents or finding out what we've been doing all day. So
uh,
those are one of the things, and like those things activated a level of curiosity for me just to see, what is out there in life, beyond the borders of Newark, New Jersey. And with that, Trent, wanted to travel. I didn't travel much as a kid, but
Yeah.
as an adult, I traveled a whole lot because of that curiosity and want to learn more.
Nice, nice. Well, and kind of in that same theme, and I do want to move into some of your aspirations and goals. But did you have any specific goals set, like as a child, or did like the specific goals of who you wanted to be and how you wanted to be, did that come later in life?
That came later in life. Like I
Mhm.
said, not to my sophomore year in high school when I was a part of an experience, because like all of these things are experiences.
Right.
I was one of 10. That's when I formulated that I wanted to go into engineering. Before that, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just know I was heavily influenced in STEM or STEAM,
Okay.
which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics,
Okay.
because I went to George Washington Carver. So George Washington Carver was one of the greatest inventors of life, the 19th century, and he invented thousands of things with the peanut and sweet potato. So through osmosis, I was learning about these things. I was seeing these things, from
Yeah.
soaps to paints to stains, all of that stuff that he created because of that. Because I went to this elementary school named after this man, and
Right.
then transitioned to Science High School, so which was the #1 magnet school in Newark, New Jersey, and that's where I got the experience of a lifetime that kind of changed and shaped who I am today.
No, that's awesome, man. So what I'm hearing is, a lot of what you wanted to become formed a little bit later on in life, which takes me to let's just kind of jump into your career a little bit. Is
Mhm.
what you're doing right now today, is that what you've always done, or did you have other gigs?
Well, I mean, I transitioned from engineering. So engineering kind of set the platform for all of the stuff that I'm doing today.
Okay.
The discipline allowed you, engineers are problem solvers, right? So you'd be able to take a problem, break it down into its parts, and then analyze it, design, build, and modify. So those are the three things and everything that I've kind of conquered is because I've designed, built, and modified it. Looked at
Yeah.
it, analyzed it, built it, and then modified it. So moving into the comic book world, moving into
Hmm.
animation, moving into education, just kind of all of those areas was all set from the framework or the foundation within the engineering field that I studied, and then eventually transitioned out of.
Nice. Well, it's one of the things that I believe is it's really important for youth, young adults, and dreamers to
Mhm.
be exposed really to someone like you and people who have designed their lives. There's a podcast, these good brothers on EYL, Earn Your Leisure, and they had a
Mhm.
guest on there. I believe his name is Rich Ross, I believe, but he was talking about the importance of exposure versus
Mhm.
experience.
Yep.
And man, it resonated in a big way with me. So, were there some specific steps or goals, is what I want to know, that really played a role in you becoming who you are today? And then also, how do you feel every day going to work? Because I think it's really important for us to dive into that a little bit.
Well, for me, the foundation of everything that made me who I am was the exposure,
Mm,
because that exposure, I was 1 out of 10 kids who was selected to be a part of this robotics program, the first robotics program in Newark, New Jersey.
yeah.
Because of that, I worked alongside a group of engineers, one who resonated with me because that was the first time I ran into a Black engineer. And
Okay.
that experience and that exposure is what made me want to go into engineering. And that kind
Okay.
of set me off, set me ablaze, set me afire, to where I was like, okay, now I have purpose. Now I know what I want to go into. So when I was
Yeah.
in school, now I was like, okay, I want to go study engineering. I wanted to go to Clemson. I wanted to go to Georgia Tech. I wanted to do all of these things, go to these universities where I could study engineering. I got into Georgia Tech, but they weren't providing me with the scholarship money that I needed in order to be able to go there. So I ended up to New Jersey Institute of Technology on a full ride, and and that was pretty much my whole journey. And like I was born, raised, and educated in Newark, New Jersey, and then branched out and did a whole lot of things worldwide. And because of the fact that I wanted to work with the community, is how I was able to me and a number of my partners, within my college friends. We work with high school students to expose them to the STEM fields and everything. And then that was a way that I was easier able to transition into the education field. And I went from substitute teacher all the way up to principal, and now currently vice principal at the high school that I actually graduated from. So it all kind of come full circle for me, with regards to how this whole thing kind of played out.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, man. I mean, and I'm not gonna, because I think it's important for people to hear this, because like one of the things that I notice when I'm just, out and about is you see people every single day at work doing their thing, right? And you see some people who you can just tell and you can feel that they love what they do, right? But then you have some that's like, my man, why are you even here? You don't even look like you want to be here. So how do you feel, good or bad or indifferent, but how do you feel every day when you show up to work? And whether it's at the school or whether it's in your creation space, how do you feel every day when you show up to work?
I mean, I feel, well, first of all, I feel blessed. I feel fortunate. I'm humble because I have the opportunity to influence the lives of the next generation of technology leaders. That is something that, like I kind of stand on. That's like my personal mission in life, to be able to kind of influence those individuals and then be able to impact their lives. A lot of people don't know that, there is a deficiency within the STEM fields for Black and Browns. We make up less than 5%. So to be able to reverse that, that's where the exposure kind of comes in at, where I want to expose the number of people in the STEM fields. And now even going even deeper, I'm looking at entertainment. And with entertainment, or the movie realm, animation and game design, there's hundreds and thousands of job opportunities when you look at the credits of these films. And then at the end of these, the game developers and everything, those are opportunities for our community that we are the biggest consumers of, but we are not taking advantage of those career opportunities that are available out there. Some of them, and a lot of them are technical paths. We're passionate about it. So, why not gravitate yourself into that instead of being a consumer, but be a creator and innovator within these particular fields?
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys can feel it, but I can feel it, the energy. You know what I'm saying? You can feel the energy when he talks about what he does. And again, that's a testament to designing your life around the things that you want to do. Is something that, Charles Barkley once said that he never worked. He never had a job. Well, of course, he works on TNT or wherever he works, and he's had a job, but he's loved it so much that it never was work. Right. But one of the things that I do want to make sure that we touch on is it's not all peaches and cream. Everybody knows it's not all peaches and cream. Challenges, whether you call them failures or stepping stones or whatever it may be. I just want to talk a little bit about challenges. Can you share a story or a challenging moment or a failure, if you want to call it that, that you experienced throughout your career, just at some point during your career, and how you overcame it?
I mean, shoot, it's a number of challenges. I mean, if you just pick one, I just throw one out there. For me in the education realm, I took the principal's test 6 times. I passed the superintendent's test on the first round, but I took the principal's test 6 times. That was something that was plaguing me for actually making it to the next level. And I really didn't have, I had motivation to kind of do it. But as soon as I passed that, the opportunity really opened up for me. And the thing that it was a costly failure too. So it's not that these things are free. These are $400 and $500 a pop. You know,
Wow.
so for me to take it that many times, that cost me about $3,000. You know,
Wow.
and part of it was I kept doing the same thing, expecting different results. Right. Studying, I had the same study habits. I did all of these things, and I thought if I just go through the process that I will pass through osmosis and everything. And it wasn't until I actually changed what I did and analyzed like what areas I'm weak in and all of those things. That is where I actually saw a success, and I take that and being able to apply it to all different aspects of my life. Within, I am an engineer who went into the comic and animation realm, so there was a lot of hurdles, there was a lot of challenges within that. But I took that same mindset, that same growth mindset, and I broke down what my strengths were, what my weaknesses were, and I understood the feedback and used that feedback to help elevate, me to make it to the next level.
Resilience. That's what I hear. Resilience.
Oh, yeah,
and the thing that I want to get across to everybody watching this is, one of the things that I say is failures are steps on the road to success. And if you fail once, you fail twice, you fail 3 times, and you quit, you'll never get to where you want to be. So I shared this story, and a lot of you guys are probably familiar with Kobe Bryant's story and how he at some point in the playoffs, I believe they was playing a Utah Jazz, and they gave him the ball in the clutch, and he shot 3-4 air balls in the clutch, and they got sent home. And instead of him just crumbling beneath all of that pressure and the hot lights of LA, he reevaluated why he failed. Right. And what he did was he went back to the lab and he got stronger. He figured out what was wrong. And what was wrong was he wasn't used to playing against high school kids. So he evaluated the failure instead of running away from it. So, man, that's awesome that we can just hear in real time, because people probably know about the Kobe Bryant story. But when we have people like you come on and talk about how failures, missteps, are a part of the process and how you push through it. And I don't know if, you have any specific, I know I said you're an athlete, for those who don't know, Naseed is a hooper. He got some game. So I don't know if you have any go-to moves in terms of staying resilient. Is this something
I had a failure with in that realm as well. But one of the things is fail early and often, right? The thing to do is to fail early in the process. As far as being a hooper, I had a torn meniscus and a torn ACL. So for me, the journey to get back on the court was something that I thought I wouldn't even be able to do. My healing factor, I feel like I got a mutant healing factor, and I got this whole Wolverine gene in me and everything, going to the comic book references, but. Just understanding that I had to work on my body. Part of the reason that my body deteriorated is because I wasn't in the gym. I wasn't conditioning. I wasn't doing all of these things that I was doing. I was working on my mind, but I wasn't working on my body. So there has to be balance within life, right? So you have to, the mind, body, and spirit all needs some type of exercise, and you need to pour into all of those things in order to be successful in anything that you're doing. And for me as a hooper, I had to reevaluate my game. I was more of a high flyer in my younger days, more of my athleticism. I wasn't the dunker. I wasn't the dunker on everybody, but I could fly through the air. I could hang through the air and do all types of things and everything. But now, moved into the mid range. I got to go into the mid range. Got to master certain things. And I remember Bernard King. He said something really, really powerful, and I kind of take that with me. He said, I had 5 moves, right? He said, I got 5 moves, and I got 5 spots on the floor that I need to do those 5 moves on. Now, when people are defending me, I know the counter to every defense that's going, so I can get to those 5 moves. And that's how
Okay.
he scored his buckets. He knowing that he got 5 moves, he knew that whatever the defender does, to be able to counter those moves so he could get to his spots, so he can make sure they score in bunches. And understanding that, and for me, like the foul line in, man, that's my place, right? I'm at the elbow. That's 70-80% right there. So if I get to that elbow, I come from a pin down or anything like that, and I get to that elbow, it's a bucket. And I understand that. Now later on in my, I always try to work now to do things that was deficient in and try to make people better, pass the ball, see how I can be on the defensive end and stuff like that. But when the clock is on and the whistles are going and everything, I know my spots, and that's what I'm getting to.
There you go. All right, now quick to the audience. If you guys out there have a story of a time when you went through a failure and you were able to come out on the other side, share that in the comments with us so we can learn from you as well. And if you're currently going through something in your life that is just tough to get through, when you're not sure how to get through it, you're not sure if you can get through it, I want you to drop a 100 in the comments. Now let's talk a little bit about passion, a little bit, and aligning passion with work. And in your opinion, how important is it for people to align their work with their passion, goals, dreams, the things that they enjoy? How important is that in your estimation?
For me, that is it. You want to get up and you want to be energized and see stuff manifest because you're passionate about your work. I put names on a board. I got pictures. I got, my whole vision board and everything, which gives me drive to say, hey, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. One of the things I learned earlier is I always work with a lot of young people and everything. And, I would have these talks with them about, exploring different paths, especially from street life to, either academic or career paths and everything. And one of the things that I understood early on that resonated with young people is sometimes you got to be the model, right?
Okay.
So I set out on a journey to be the model because I want to be able to point to people, point to things that they can be able to, use as a model in order for them to see that it's possible. I grew up in the same streets as you. I come from these same neighborhoods and everything. And this is what I was able to do, given limited resources, not coming from a family who has a trust fund or anything like that. All of those things that were set up against me, but still was able to persevere and use pride, which stands for perseverance, resilience, integrity, determination, and above all, excellence. So have pride in everything that you do. So perseverance, resilience, integrity, determination, and above all, excellence in everything that you do is going to be the pathway for you to reach to the top.
Word. You see why I got him on the first time, right? You see, right? We need that. Belief is so important. A lot of times we hold ourselves back because we don't believe that it's possible. And one of the things that I always say that is, if it's possible, if it's humanly possible, I don't care what it is that you want to do. If it's humanly possible, it's possible for you. Now there may be some personal growth that you have to go through to get there. And there's going to be some hurdles and things like that, but you can get there, you can get it done. And I don't care what people say about your dream or the things that your goals. It's possible. If it's possible, it's possible for you. And speaking of personal growth, we all evolve, right? Hopefully we're evolving.
Because some people stagnate, brother.
Listen, now I go home, I see the same guys in the same corners doing the same, you know what I'm talking about. So as you evolved, how has personal growth played a role in terms of your progression in your circle of friends? Has that changed along the way? So how has personal growth played a role in your life and then looking at your friends, has that circle of friends changed in any way along the way?
Oh, yes, I mean with personal growth and whatever you materialize in the universe, generally you attract. So what I've done is I've been very intentional on working on me. So knowledge of self and constant improvement. I don't
Okay.
feel that I've done anything. Even with the list of accomplishments that you read off and everything, I still feel like I got so much more to do, and that's
Yeah.
why I stay hungry. I stay humble with regards to that, because I got to go out here and go get it. I
Yeah.
have something that I need to leave behind, with regards to legacy and everything. So I make sure I'm very intentional about spending time reading, spending
Hmm.
time building on myself, with my craft and skills. These last few days, I've been working on my craft, just getting
Okay.
back in the lab, doing some things. So I'm very intentional about those things. And my circle of friends, my tight circle of friends is still that same tight knit circle.
Okay.
But as far as associates and partners and all that stuff, that has just expanded, based on the realms that I've been moving into, with regards to entertainment, the comics, animation, all of those things, because I'm in these different circles, and like-minded people kind of, still sharpens steel, or iron
Hmm.
sharpens iron. So that is something that you want to kind of surround yourself with individuals who are smarter than you,
Yeah.
and possibly get mentors of people who are doing what you want to do. So you can
Yeah.
learn the mistakes that they've made, and then be able to teach yourself, uh, from those individuals who are doing what you need to be doing.
Yeah, and look, it's crazy because we're on the same page. We're going to talk about mentors in just a second, but I do want to dive a little bit more because I think that sometimes we underestimate, especially when you're young, you
Mhm.
underestimate the impact of the people that you surround yourself with,
Oh yeah.
negatively or positively, right?
Hmm.
So I don't, this is not about me. We want to learn from you. Have you
Yeah.
ever at any point in your life had to make a change? You ever had to cut some people out your life?
Yeah. I
And
think
if so, what did that look like?
well, for me, I kind of moved in different circles, right? So I had a small circle, a small group of individuals, my PP soldier group.
Mhm.
We were real tight. People got families and everything. When I went from high school to college, my friend base just really changed. All of the
Mm,
individuals that I used to hang out with on the block,
yeah.
that shot me changed because I had a different goal for myself. And every time I used to come back to the block, they would still be there. So I had to, elevate and do things differently. And that kind of happened naturally, with
Yeah.
regards to, because I was moving differently. So I was moving
Yeah.
differently. I wasn't acting different. I was moving different. So I'm in
Yeah.
different spaces. So I'm not at the same clubs as them. I'm not at the local bars. I'm not at these same spaces that these individuals are hanging out at. I'm at conferences, I'm at other things like that. So naturally, you kind of grow apart, because of, the spaces and places that you're actually going to. But I still say what's up. I don't act like I don't know you or anything like that.
Right.
But
Right.
because I'm on a different mission, I just don't have that type of time, right? So I don't have
Yeah.
that type of time to just be hanging and chilling and doing all this stuff with other individuals. So that's how naturally those individuals kind of fell out, and then other people kind of got
Okay.
inserted in because I started moving into different circles.
So basically, what it sounds like to me is your dreams became more important than those relationships, is what it
Yep.
sounds like to me.
Mhm.
And, I don't know about you guys out there that's watching right now. In the comments, drop it in if you ever had to make changes in your circle to elevate, as Naseed said. And if you have, I want you to drop in the comments the word gone.
Mhm.
Just dropping the comments of where we're going, because sometimes you do have to make changes to progress, because if you
Mhm.
don't make changes, if you allow those relationships to be more important than your dreams, your goals and aspirations, you will be the same person that he just talked about, that's back home on the block doing the same thing. And guess
Oh
what,
yeah. I mean,
as they're
oh, go
go ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. No, you got it, go ahead.
They say your net worth is determined by your five closest friends,
There
right?
you go.
So if your circle is, people who are not doing well, then you will probably not be doing well. You need to surround yourself with individuals, because then the conversations and the opportunities are going to be different. People are not talking about stocks and trust funds and doing other things within your circle. And if you're the smartest individual in your circle, you need to get into a new circle. You need to surround yourself with individuals who are smarter than you and more talented than you, because you need to be constantly learning. That's what
But
you're doing.
hold up. But what about the people that's going to say, man, you sold out? You know what I mean? You cut
Sold
off your
out.
friends. Yeah.
I mean, I can't say sold out, because I always still, I always get back, always, was a part of the community. So I never sell out, but I know I move in these different circles, and I'm in these different spaces that, these individuals may not be in, and even with that, sometimes I'm still reaching and bringing people back with me, if you're willing to come. If you want to come, then hey, I'm welcoming you to be a part of this whole thing. But if this ain't something that you want to get into, then hey, then that's on you. But you will get the opportunity, because if you are my friend, then I'm also looking to elevate your life as you hopefully looking to elevate my life. That's what friends do. We don't get ourselves, into situations. We help get ourselves out of situations.
Right. And I truly believe that if your friends respect you enough, even if that's not the path that they want to go, they respect the fact that you want more. And if they don't respect the fact that you want more, guess what? They're not your friends in the first place, and you should cut them off. Cut them off immediately, because it just hold you back.
I was fortunate, growing up in the hood, where my peoples embraced me, right? They saw I was on a different journey, so when they was getting into the nonsense, they kind of shooed me away from that piece, So I played ball and everything, and and I was cool. I was hanging out on the block with everybody. That was what I did. I used to fight a lot when I was younger. That was something that I did. But I knew that I had to go onto a different path because of how I was moving, man. And most of the time, it's funny. Like when you're not around your friends, and for me, I was a lot of the times, especially I was going to science high school, which was downtown Newark. I was by myself a lot. So every weekend I'm fighting. Every weekend in high school I'm fighting, but then I'm by myself downtown, and I'm definitely running into all of the people that I'm getting into these fights with, and I'm by myself. Not with my boys, not with everybody. So I had to change my mindset and say, look, I can't put myself in situations where it's not going to be to my advantage and everything. And actually set off a life that, I'm looking to set up for the rest of my life. The decisions that I made in my 20s, as far as changing my diet, how I wanted to, live and exercise and do these things, help set me up for my 40s, 50s, and beyond. That's kind of like where I'm at.
Right. A life worth living, man. That's what this is all about. And I do want to jump into mentorship real quick. Talk about in my opinion, mentors are really game changers that a lot of times we don't take advantage of. Sometimes we feel like we got to do it by ourselves. So can you share a specific lesson or maybe some advice from a mentor that really stuck with you at some point?
I mean, my whole life has been influenced by mentors. I've always seeked mentors. Growing up, I always looked for a mentor. My grandfather was one of my first mentors when my mother and my father separated. Your father was one of my mentors, growing up and everything. So I always seeked the knowledge of mentors, because with that experience comes wisdom. And because of wisdom, wisdom listens, right? So I listen to wisdom and being able to shape and change things accordingly. But for mentors, I've always seeked out, and I've been very intentional. So any field I wanted to get into, I've always found the top 5% of those individuals, right? And I try to see what they're doing. If I don't have access to them directly, I see what books that they're writing, what books that they're reading. I get into that to see how they actually built themselves to that path of where they are currently today. Because a lot of people think of the success, but they don't understand the journey. And and understanding the journey is how you actually build yourself up to potentially take on those successes later on in life. Like with Kobe Bryant and everything, that guy was relentless. He didn't go to the clubs. He didn't do any of that. He was in the gym before everybody. I listened to his workout schedule. He got up at 4 a.m. He did one workout. He came home. He ate, took the kids to school or whatever. Then he went out and did another workout. And then he did another workout. He rested up a little bit. Then he did a third workout. So he's did 3 workouts by the time most people have just did one. Right. So if we talk about the law of, we just talk about mathematics. So he's doing 3 to your 1 or 2. Right. Over the course of 20 years. So the gap in skill and depth, and that's why he's so much higher than everyone else. Because he's not doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing, but he's doing it so many more repetitions and putting in that much more time. And because of that time, he's allowed himself to be able to separate himself from all of the other individuals and everything. I remember I went to a STEM conference and we were talking about, the actual purpose of time, and it was an Asian group. And they were talking about how, the assumption is that, Asians are so much better in math and science and everything like that. Statistically, they usually test better. But what has happened is that they spend less time doing the fun stuff and spend more time, working on that particular craft. And that's why they are generally, much better within those particular fields.
Please repeat that. Repeat what they do, please. And for those out there, this is an opportunity for you to take notes and learn from this wisdom. But please repeat that.
So the study that they were doing, they just spend less time, doing all of the other stuff, but spend more time, focused in on their particular crafts or their math and sciences and everything, which allows them to be able to separate themselves from other individuals, so the time that you on TikTok, that you on Instagram, Facebook, and all that time, and using that same amount of time, because most time we can't find time to exercise, we can't find time to do personal and professional growth opportunities, and we wonder why we're stuck in the same position that we are in today. So you gotta set time aside to self-improve. Right. So I'm an educator by day, and I write comics and have a Black animation film festival called Kimfest that I do, and all of that stuff happens at night and in the early mornings and weekends. So being able to maximize my time, being able to do that, like I nowadays I go to bed at 10. I try to go to bed early so I can make sure I can get up at 5. From 5 to 7, I got to get up, get ready, get out, get some work in, do what I need to do to still make sure I can put food on the table while I'm still building the empire, behind the scenes and everything. And then after that, I'm working again to make sure that I'm doing that. And then on the weekends, I'm doing that. So that's how I was able to, write this graphic novel, come up with the concept to be able to develop Afrofuturism, Black Comic Festival that celebrates Black animation, gaming, and comic book creators, called Kimfest, which we're going to be in our 10th anniversary in Miami this year in April. So I'm super excited about that. But all of that comes because I allocated my time differently. I'm not at the club. I try to get in the gym. I'm in the gym less nowadays, but I'm trying to get back into the gym and just trying to make sure that I have some balance. And then, of course, I'm a father, so I gotta make sure I'm very intentional about, spending time with my kids and giving them experiences as well, so they can grow, along this whole journey.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing a lot of sacrifice. I'm hearing a lot of discipline. I think a lot of times we have the misconception that in our younger years is when we're supposed to have the most fun. But what I'm hearing is that's when you really put the fuel in the fire to really get the work done, so that later on you have the opportunity potentially to sit back and relax a little bit more. I don't think that Naseed Gifted is ever going to totally shut it down, but you put in the work on the front end.
Yeah. As far as definitely going to be allocating time a little differently, as I get older.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like I said, developing that next generation, man. Like
Yeah.
how do we set forth stepping stones for someone to come behind you and be able to do so much more? That's
Right.
where I'm with this whole thing.
Right. Now you touched on your family a lot. Obviously, you're a parent, you're a husband, and you have all these endeavors that
My
you.
ex-husband, I'm sorry, because
Okay, I apologize. I apologize. We need to talk more. I probably said that time and to put a big X up there on it,
kind
but
of
for sure, for sure. But just as a father
Mhm.
and as a professional,
Yep.
there's a lot there. So how are you managing that balance? Because some people say that life is, there some people say that really there is no thing such thing as life balance. At some point your life
Yep.
is going to be out of balance,
Yeah.
negatively or positively.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
how do
Definitely.
you attempt to create balance?
I mean, with everything, just being real intentional. I'll
Okay.
be real intentional as far as I create experiences. My daughter now is 15. My son is 19, and when they were younger, of course, I always brought them everywhere with me. You
Mm,
know, Now my son is older. He's in college. He's doing his own thing,
hmm.
and just trying to create experiences for him. But also, I have a teenage daughter, and who's potentially going to be getting in relationships later, and
Yeah.
all of these things. So I take her out. I take her out.
Okay.
I show her, different things, and then she can actually see how you know she's supposed to interact with the other sex and everything.
Hmm.
So that is something I do intentionally to be able to do that. We have movie dates. We have we go out to different venues and stuff. So I
Yeah.
do that. And I take her along. I take her along with me to movie premieres when I go.
Okay.
Things like that. So I'm just very intentional about kind of creating experiences with my children, because I'm so used to having them with me all the time. But I
Yeah.
know that they're getting older and they're living their own lives. But I also still want to kind of create those and expose them, right? So I want to
Yeah.
expose them to different things. They've grown up, going to Comic Cons and everything, because
Hmm.
I'm in this particular world. Where we're at San Diego Comic Con, we at New York Comic Con, like then now these are things that they love and want to, be a part of, on a participation level. But I'm also trying to teach them the business. So if they were to want to take over, later on in life,
Hmm.
business, then they can have the opportunity and the experience to be able to do so
Got
at
it.
their leisure.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome, man. That's awesome. Jules, man. Jules. But I'm gonna ask you for some more. All right. I want you to give our viewers some jewels and just your thoughts around a few subjects. All right.
Mhm.
Um, Goals. So, what part do you feel setting goals plays in achieving any level of success?
Well, I mean, it's like having a roadmap. I know I'm in Jersey, you're in California, right?
Hmm.
So there is so many different roads to be able to get from Jersey to California.
Yeah.
The goal is California, but for me to get there, I need to know what my roadmap is. And that's what my goals kind of come in, because I could go I could go all the way down to Miami and then come all the way back up to
Hmm.
California. That's one way, and that's a very, very long way. But
Okay.
there's a more direct route in which that I can take in order to get to California. So when I set that goal, now I'm being very intentional about where I want to get to and then
Okay.
how I need to get there. So I always backwards design and backwards map, how I'm going to get there and what's the most cost efficient and
Hmm.
most effective way to be able to get there. With of course you're going to have roadblocks, you're going to have construction areas and everything,
Hmm.
that you may have to have detours. But I want to try to take as direct route as possible that allows me to be able to make it there in the least amount of time.
Got it. Got it. So I'm hearing goals are obviously important, but then there's a plan that goes along with
Mhm.
those goals that supports your goal, a game
Yep.
plan, right?
I mean, yeah, because if you plan, excuse me, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right.
So I always got to have a plan. So I got to have a goal, and then I got to have a plan to get to the goal in order to be able to get there. Because other than that, then it just becomes a dream. So it's a
Yeah.
dream, but then the goal is actually something that we have a strategic plan in order to be able to execute in order to get to reach and attain that goal.
Yeah. Well, A.R. Bernard has a famous quote out, he talks about the importance of, dreams and goals and how,
Mhm.
dreams are just dreams, without a goal. You don't have a goal to support those dreams. I mean, just become just a dream and ultimately
Mhm.
just gonna be disappointed. Right. So there is a lot of people. I was talking to a young lady a couple of weeks ago about some things that she wanted to do, but she was really hesitant to pull the trigger on it, for
Mhm.
a lot of different reasons.
Of
So
course.
talk to us a little bit about for those who might be a little bit hesitant to pursue their
Mhm.
dreams. What practical steps, in your estimation, in your experience, would you suggest that someone take to get started?
Well, I mean, one of the things is fear, right? So we got to overcome fear. So
Okay.
once we overcome fear, we also understand that there is what we call analysis paralysis. So
Yeah.
we sit there analyzing like, oh, with this, we woulda, coulda, shoulda, but we never actually execute. So
Right.
one of the things for me, I had analysis paralysis when I first came out with the first graphic novel. I was sitting there. We had this whole product. I'm sitting here. I'm tweaking. I'm tweaking. I'm tweaking. I'm tweaking. Then I thought about one thing, and I thought about one thing. And I'm always reverting back to technology. The
Hmm.
cell phone. So the
Yeah.
cell phone, right, is does 99.9% of the things that it's expected to do.
Hmm.
There is 0.01% or 0.1% of what it does or needs to do. And then and we get every, I mean, it's less often now, but when you were first getting the cell phone, you get what we call an update. And the update
Okay.
is based off of the feedback that you receive from the consumers in order to debug and improve your product.
Right.
So as we are looking at any type of product, service, or whatever, and you want to get out there and you want to do something, right? You want to set the goal of what you want it to achieve, for the audience, for the service or provider or whatever you want it to do. And
Hmm.
then you get out into the universe. Then you also got to be able to take that and receive the feedback from it. So I put the first book out and I got this feedback. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
it's out there. We got it. I took that feedback and I took all of that energy and I fed it into the next book,
Hmm.
right? And then I took the feedback from that and I fed it into the next book. So I constantly kept improving, the series and everything.
Yeah.
But all I was doing was putting it out there and receiving the feedback. Now I
Yeah.
did my homework ahead of time to make sure that I was putting out a quality product. But because it was my first time, because I never, went to school or worked at a Marvel or DC or any of those things, there was some
Hmm.
learning curves that I had to overcome. And with that, I just wanted to make sure that I had something that was quality, that you could
Yeah.
put on the shelves next to the big two, big three, individuals within that particular industry, and then just kept
Hmm.
feedback and improving the product moving forward. So now there's also growth within what you're doing as far as your service or product that you're providing. And that was how I was able to overcome that.
Mm.
I had the same hang up, and sometimes I still have the same hang up because I always feel that I can improve it better. I can improve it better. I can always improve it better.
Yeah.
But then you get stuck in this whole analysis paralysis piece
Yeah.
and this whole thing of fear, and then you woulda, coulda, shoulda, when you
Right.
need to put it out in the universe and then understand that look, some of the feedback is going to be good, some of them is going to be bad, but
Yeah.
you receive all of it and use
Yeah.
it as leverage to be able to improve your product or service. And then
Yes.
that's how you get sharper.
There you go. Now, someone once said that your passion is waiting for your courage to catch up. And
Yep.
it sounds like, you just hit the play button. And,
Mhm.
we want to encourage you out there. If you're hesitant, if you're scared, if you feel fear, that's natural. It's normal. But hit the
Yeah.
play button. Start where you stand. Hey,
Yeah, I
man,
remember.
listen. Mhm.
I
Please
remember
go ahead.
Eric Thomas. Yeah, I remember Eric Thomas talked about this whole thing where, it's a mother, it's a mother and a child, and there's a group of pit bulls.
Mm,
Now, as a mother, you want to go into defense mode. By yourself, you probably wouldn't even, stay there and everything. But now that your child is in danger,
hmm
you go into this whole protective mode to be able to do that. And that's how you need to be able to treat your product or service and everything when you're going. You got to act like that pit bull is coming at your child, and you
Yeah.
need to be able to protect that and be able to get out of that situation, and have the courage to be able to do that, because you're not going
Yeah.
to just allow them to attack your child. You
Right.
want to
Right.
do something in order to protect your family and your children. So look at it as that, as you are birthing your baby, which is your product or service.
This is why we have him on for the first episode. Hit the
Oh
like,
man,
hit the like button and share. Hit the like button and share right
yeah,
now.
definitely,
Everybody out there
definitely.
watching it, hit the like button and share. This is stuff that you need, that you want for yourself and for those around you, to keep elevating and keep moving. And we're gonna keep it moving. I want to shift a little bit,
Okay.
and get into some things that tell us a little bit more about you to a certain degree. My question is, what is PB Soldier? For those who don't know, what is PB Soldier?
PB Soldier is a Afrofuturism adventure set in the near future, where we live in a world where everyone is considered a terrorist. PB Soldier, which is one of the world's top hackers in this world, has just been labeled a top terror threat and has to go
Mm,
unofficially off of the books for the newly formed world government, known as the establishment. As he's being
okay.
trained as an assassin, he starts seeing a life not of his own, which is actually his ancestors trying to hack into him while he's hacking into the world. And that's where the story kind of kicks off from, when he's trying to get an understanding of how his past connects with his present and paves a pathway for the future.
Okay, so he's a superhero.
He is, but
he's
he's
a
actually a computer hacker, so he doesn't have any superpowers per
okay.
se. But he actually takes advantage and uses the resources around him to be able to solve the situations that's going on.
Yeah, well, this world is full of superheroes and superheroes that don't have actual superpowers.
Yes,
So
definitely.
he's a superhero. But I'm curious, what made you move in the Afrofuturism space? Like, why go in that direction? Because let's just be honest, and even comic books, let's just be honest, not a lot of people from our community
Yeah.
are creating comic books, and
Hmm.
specifically Afrofuturism comic
Yeah.
books. So why?
Well, I mean, part of it was we deal with social ills in the community each and every day. We talk about the
Mm,
past, we talk about reparations, we talk about the stuff that's plaguing our community right now.
yeah.
Police brutality, black on black crime, the drugs, and all of the things. I mean, and now we got human trafficking, right?
Hmm.
So all of these things are happening, but one of the things that we're not talking about is the future, right? We're not talking
Okay.
about what that looks like in the future and how we can shape what that future looks like. So that's where the whole concept of Afrofuturism and just kind of put that lens on how we are going to shape and tell our own narrative of what the future could be, right? So that's
Hmm.
kind of like in the lane that I always wanted to sit in, with regards to changing the paradigm of the individuals of black and browns within the STEM fields. How do you do that? But not by just talking about it and being mad about it, but actually exposing and then actually creating pipelines for individuals to be able to take advantage of these different opportunities that's out here in the universe. You know, and being very intentional about it. So that's
Mm,
how I kind of got into all of that. And I always thought in a future sense anyway.
hmm
One of the things I didn't talk about, as far as engineering, for my 80s fans, Voltron was one of the reasons I went into engineering as well. Besides the fact that I ran into a black engineer, I went to the White House, I did all these things,
Okay.
with regards to being, getting the chairman's award. I was on 2020 back in high school and all of this stuff because of that one robotics experience. I wanted to create the Voltron Lion. And that was one of the that I wanted to do that drove me, excuse me, that drove me into this particular field. So I studied electrical engineering. I kind of had all these designs. And then I got into college and I'm talking to my friends and everything. It's like, the government's going to take your invention as a weapon of mass destruction and kill Black and brown people and everything. So, I kind of got derailed a little, but use that creativity to kind of do some other things as well. But it didn't deter me from wanting to become an engineer and working to get into power and satellite communications and everything else.
Right. And comics, is that something that you were into when you were young at all? Or?
Yeah, that was something I was into when I was younger. One of the things that kind of drove me into the comic realm, like I collected comic books in middle school, right? So I watched karate, I watched martial arts, martial arts theater, and Saturday morning cartoons. Those were my favorites. Yeah. I collected comic books. When I got to high school, I put the comic books down, and that was basketball and girls. Those were my two passions right there. That was my thing. But it wasn't until I actually had my own children that I actually went into this whole realm. I took my son to see the first Incredible Hulk back in 2008. And we had this conversation about superheroes. And when we talk about superheroes, he could name everyone: Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, all of those individuals, the top 5. Well, what he couldn't do was name anyone who looked like him. And because of that, initially I got upset, and then it set me ablaze and a fire to, go on a journey to be able to change that, where, young people like him, and especially at that time, this is of course before Black Panther, because this is where, kind of laid the foundation for all of this, that there's a lack of Black and brown heroes in the comic book world. So I was looking to change that, and that's how I got to PB Soldier, and actually was able to write Jason, the Rose That Grew from the Concrete, and all of these other characters, and just being able to push forward with that. Okay,
so the Black Comic Book Festival. You established the Black, like, what motivated you to? So you've got the series going, you got your comic books going, which is a feat in itself. Congratulations! I think that's dope. But the festival, what influenced you? What motivated you to put that festival together?
And it all ties together. So I was traveling the country with the comic book series, going to all of these different conventions, and the one thing I noticed that I didn't, and I was going to Philly, like when I was going there to visit family, I was going to Ekbach. Ekbach was the East Coast, still is, excuse me, in their 23rd year. Shout out to Ekbach, East Coast Black Age of Comics, right?
Okay.
I was going there annually. And I noticed that in my community in Newark, New Jersey, there was nothing as far as comic cons that were established that was celebrating Black and browns. And because of that, I look to, I'm an engineer, so I'm a problem solver. So I'm looking to solve that problem. And then at the same time, I had to educate the community of what a comic festival is, right?
Okay.
Because they haven't never attended anything like this. No one has ever been to a Comic Con or anything like that, and if it is, it's a small pocket of individuals. They may have seen something like that on TV or whatever. So I talked to the elders at Ekbach, and he gave me the blessing to go forth and do it. And from 2014, 2015, I think it was 2015 on to today, we've been doing ChemFest. We started off at the high school that I was working at, which was Central High School, and have grown it each year ever since. And now, we're at our 10th annual, and we're doing it big in Miami in April. Wow. So, I'm super excited about that. But it all came from right here, an idea.
Yeah.
So conceived it in my mind, believed it in my heart, and achieved it with my hands. So conceive, believe, achieve. That was pretty much it, man.
What made you believe you could do it? Listen, nobody ever did that before. So what made you believe that you could do it?
Oh man, hey, like I said, I've been to enough. Like I've done the research, I've gone and I've traveled the country and I've gone to all of these different festivals and conventions and everything. And I said, look, we're going to start off small. I knew enough individuals within the realm. I kept the cost low in the beginning. And I mean, and we just kind of pushed forward. Once I got the blessing, you know, that was the part that I said, okay, you know, I'm not looking for individuals who thinking that I'm trying to compete with them. You know, they was you know, supportive and proud that we were expanding, you know, of the whole Black age piece, which started, you know, way back in Chicago and has been expanded, you know, to what they do in Philly, what they do in Detroit. They have a convention in Oakland, California, you know, all of those different places. But, you know, just being able, and then the one of the larger ones, which was the Black Comic Festival in the Schomburg in Harlem, you know, that was also, you know, another realm. But I knew my community needed something. And like I said, the whole word superhero is what made me do what I do. Right. When I talked to my son and he couldn't name anyone who looked like him as a superhero nowadays, you know, you got, you know, Miles Morales and, you know, you got Falcon and a whole bunch of other people that people could probably name now. Well, back when I first started this journey, people couldn't name 5, you know, superheroes of color. Wow. You know, they probably named Storm from the X-Men, and that was probably the first one that they could kind of off the top of their head, but they couldn't name 5, right? So nowadays, but and that's so words are super powerful. So as a learning tool, you know, words resonate images, and if we talk about an image and you look at you know, and I have to get into race right now. So when you look at the word superhero and you see someone who doesn't look like you as a savior, you know, how do you see yourself being able to impact or be able to solve the problems within your own community if you always looking outside for individuals to come and save you? You know? So that was just like super powerful for me, be able to not be able to change the paradigm of how words impact individuals. You know, so you can see yourself as the hero within and being able to say, look, I can change my immediate surroundings and my community around me, and then be able to do so much more.
Man, and again, this is why I go back to this is why we do this, because you were inspired by the interaction with your son, and hopefully people seeing you and feeling your energy and seeing your successes and courage will inspire others because they see you, whether you look like them or not. They see you doing it, and that's really what this is all about, encouraging people to take that step forward, no matter if anyone's ever done it before or not. Move forward and make your adjustments as you go. Okay, so I want to do something a little bit fun. Hopefully it's a little fun. All right. Play this game. I call it Imagine If. All right. So imagine if you can go back in time and give your younger self advice about life design, what would it be?
Ooh, about life design.
Yeah.
Man, I would tell myself to stay on the path.
Okay.
You know, maybe get a little more focused, but stay on the path, because there's a lot of good things that's going to come out of it. I remember when I was younger, especially when I transitioned from engineering into education, I questioned this path that I was on. You know, I was wondering, you know, if it was the right path. You know, like, first of all, the money wasn't the same. You know, the money wasn't the same. And I had a lot of doubts. But, you know, growing, having a family, learning from them, and sitting down, you know, like raising my kids. So, and I'm just go back to the reason I was able to write this graphic novel. We started off as a clothing line with PB Soldier in college. We graduated, everybody got their jobs. So it's like they went in with guns and came out with jobs, and the revolution was over. That was pretty much me and my that's what happened. So later on, of course, everyone's in their careers, and my wife at the time, she was a flight attendant. And I was in the house with my, these two young kids. I was in the house with kids, and and I'm raising them. And while I'm in the house, I started creating these stories because I'm in the house. I'm occupying my time. So all of the time that I spent in the house, working with my kids and everything, I was able to write these stories. And because I was able to write these stories, and shout out to Tyler Perry because he inspired me to do something that no one else has done. As far as syndication, I mean, from a business model, the reason he actually has Tyler Perry Studios is because he did this one deal, where he got a 100-episode deal with Turner Broadcasting Station for Meet the Browns, right?
Okay.
Now they bought 100 episodes. Now if they actually showed 100 episodes, it doesn't matter. But which they did, but I'm just saying they bought a 100-episode deal. He had to pilot the first 10, out of his own pocket, and then they bought the other 90. So he was paid for 90 episodes of syndication, which allowed him to get into syndication, and then he was able to do so many other things. So I took that model and I said, look, if I got picked up today by some major network or whatever, I need to make sure I have more than a synopsis and what the first episode is going to look like. So I wrote Soldier for 65 episodes. Okay. Because I always thought of it as an animation, 30-minute, animated story. So I wrote it like that. And I also named each one of the books, episode 1, episode 1.5, 2.0, 2.5, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So that was how I was able to do that. And then, and actually, from a writing standpoint, I knew where we're going, so I can actually put a little breadcrumbs and everything to be able to see to plant seeds in order to add depth into the actual story. And then, of course, along that, I'm just constantly improving on the craft.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Imagine if PB Soldier lived in our world. What job or profession would he have, and how do you think that he would design his life?
Oh, well, he would pretty much be where he's at. He would be a computer hacker or a computer scientist at this point, working at either Microsoft or Meta,
Okay.
trying to explore those systems and then using that to be able to further his personal gain.
Gotcha. All right. Imagine if you could invite 3 people, living or dead, doesn't matter, to dinner. To dinner. Who would they be and why? Just 3.
3? I only get 3? Man.
You however many you want. You want to go 3, you want to go 5?
I need a dinner. The first would be one of my one of the heroes that I've always looked for and would love to be. I mean, I had the opportunity to meet his offspring, which would be Malcolm X or El Hajj Malik Shabazz. I would love to be able to pick his brain and just kind of understand his journey. That will be one individual that I would love to invite to dinner. 2 others I'm trying to think throughout. It's just so many. I know that one just stands out, right off.
If you need more than 3, that's cool. We go to 5.
We go to 5. So let's see. Tesla. Nikola Tesla. Yeah, I would love to pick his brain because and then Emotep. Emotep. Who was the first engineer, scholar, architect, surgeon. I would love to invite him to dinner and learn some of. As you know, I went this summer. I went to Kemet. I got the opportunity to go back in the masterpiece or the what do you call it? The 7 Wonders of the World. The great engineering masterpiece that has withstand thousands of years of engineering feat, and I'm looking at the stones, I'm looking at the construction, and I'm looking at how they do this back then. And then also be able to understand how they generated electricity, aqueduct and all of this stuff, way back then, thousands and thousands of years ago. So I would love to be able to have him at dinner, be able to learn, and there's
you drop 2 more on us.
Yeah, I'm Maya Angelou.
Okay.
I would love to be able to meet and talk with her. Jasper Cummins. Going all the way back. Like how they went from Watley, Georgia, and then how we spread the family all the way across the whole U.S. and everything. Starting in Watley, Georgia, man. Just be able to sit down and understand that whole piece. And I don't know if you know that PB Soldier's name is Nat Cummings. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right. All right.
That kind of ties into our whole family. Everything.
For sure. For sure.
So Nat Cummings and Nat's Cummings.
Nat Cummings. Okay.
Yeah, that's his actual real name. So.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, those are some of the individuals. It's a couple more that's escaping the brain right now, but those are the ones that are kind of pertinent and just kind of jumping out at me right now.
No, that's cool. That's definitely an interesting dinner. That's for sure. That's for sure. Okay, top five. What are your top five comic book heroes of all time?
Oh, comic book heroes of all time. Top five. You only get 5.
Okay.
So, in no particular order, I'm gonna say. Jason.
Okay. Yeah.
Those 2 right there, the top 2.
No doubt.
You got Spider-Man,
okay,
Wolverine, Black Panther. Those are my top 5.
Okay.
Those
all right. They making some noise.
Oh man, I gotta get Storm. I gotta get Storm in there somehow, man.
Okay. All right.
Those are my individuals right there. Because those are the individuals I actually, when we talk about comics, I used to collect Spider-Man. I used to collect X-Men, with regards to Wolverine. I used to read Black Panther. I didn't collect any of the DC comics or anything. But, from an animation standpoint, I used to watch Super Friends and, and animated series and all that good stuff.
Nice. Okay, we kind of getting close to wrapping it up a little bit, but I do want to know if you have any new projects that you're excited about that you want to share with us.
Yeah, so right now, got a couple of things that's coming down for 2024. Man, it's gonna be a super powerful year. We're gonna start off the year with ChemFest, the 10th annual ChemFest in Miami, Florida.
Got a date on it?
Yes, it's the I gotta go to the beginning of the week. So ChemFest is actually going to be a part of BikeCon Week. So BikeCon Week is all the last week of April 2024. I know ChemFest is the 25th through the 27th. And then the earlier part of the week will be a part of that BikeCon Week, which is all a part of the Miami Tech Month. So Miami Tech Month, so we have the Black Tech Week embedded in the Miami Tech Month. So I'm super excited about that. So shout out to BikeCon, who we are partnering with to be able to do this phenomenal work. We're in post-production for, say it again.
Get your tickets now.
Oh yeah, get your tickets now. Also we also have our animated short, PB Soldier Blacklisted. So Blacklisted is now in post-production. We should have that out by February. We're working out for February to have that. We'll be doing a number of the film festivals and everything throughout the year. And then in October, we're going to come out with Jason, the Afrofuturism experience, which is going to be an immersive art experience where we infuse poetry, audio visuals, and a live performance within that, to be able to create this phenomenal experience.
Wow. Wow, man, 2024 is going to be exciting. It's going to be powerful. I'm excited for you, man. Man, listen, if you don't get your tickets now, I don't want to hear any excuses. Get your tickets now. We're going to get your
early
information
access, man, because all it does is go up. It keeps going up from there, man.
Right.
So
right. Nice. Now, again, as we get ready to kind of close things out, any final thoughts or any kind of final advice that you might give to the people that are out there, youth, young adults, dreamers of all ages, that you might want to share with them in terms of how to design their lives?
Yeah, if you have a dream, write it down, man, and repeat it each and every day. Set that goal up from the beginning so you have something to work towards. Take a piece of paper. Make it real simple for you. Fold it up into 16 squares. This means fold it up to 4. And the reason that you do this is because you don't need a large piece of paper to be able to do it. You need to write down 3 things that you need to achieve for it. So you put Monday up here. You need 3 things you need to get accomplished for that day. 3 things, not 10, not 12, but 3 things. And write those down. And then for Tuesday, you need to do the same thing. Wednesday, Thursday. By the end of 16 days, this whole thing will be filled up because you're doing both sides.
Right.
And you do that every 2 weeks, obviously. And then you keep these papers. And if you already got your goal written down, these are the steps of how you want to be working out to achieve that goal. And this is just one simple strategy in order to be able to do that. And I have a ton of these papers that I keep in, my particular box here to see some of the stuff that I'm looking to, especially when I'm trying to get stuff accomplished. That's the simplest things. And like I got a little piece of paper right now where I got the things on, but I just do this. And then the reason I do this is because it's small. I can put it in my back pocket. I can refer to it just to make sure that I'll be able to do. When I leave stuff on my cell phone on my to-do list, I put it on my to-do list and it never gets done. So I put it on this because part of the cognitive piece of you actually writing it down commits it to memory. Being that it commits it to memory, it makes you conscious that you have something that you need to get done for this particular day. If you don't get nothing else done, you got to get these 3 things done today, just to show a level of achievement for that particular day. So you can, and every little step leads you one step closer to you reaching your goals.
Man, that's powerful. Listen, and she's slipping my mind right now, her name, and I gotta find it and look it up. But there's a woman who did a study at Dominican University, and she basically proved that you're 42% more likely to reach a goal if you just write it down. 42%. So, man, that's a powerful suggestion. I really, really thank you for that and for your time. Listen, we want to know now, how can we contact you? What's your social media? How can we find your work?
Well, if you look here, you can reach me at Director Gifted on Instagram, but Naseed Gifted on everything else as far as LinkedIn, Facebook, also PBS Media Studios. PBS Media Studios is on the platform, KimFest. But for the main part, to reach me directly, go to Director Gifted or Naseed Gifted on all social media platforms.
Awesome. The final question I have is, I need you to think of one person, and I need you to give me a name, but name one person you believe that's amazing, that you know personally, that has designed his or her life, that you think that the people need to hear from, see, learn from, and experience, right? But before you tell us who it is, and if you can drop the name, that's cool. If you can't, I'll get it later. But if you can tell us the name, you got to help us get them on the show.
Oh, okay.
You got to help us get them on the show. One person. I know you. So you done went through your whole history. So I know there's some amazing people in
Yeah,
that box.
I mean, there's a number of phenomenal people, that's doing some great work.
Hmm.
Roy Coupe,
Okay.
Karma Horn, Yatasha Womack, who's doing a phenomenal job. Tim Fielder, who's my brother, and William Jones. William Jones, he's out in DC. He's doing some phenomenal work. So shout out to all of them. My partner in crime, Delonte Bass, he's doing some phenomenal work as well. And my brother Kaz Finney, he's doing some work with regards to us. So those are the names that kind of resonate and just kind of jumps out at me,
Hmm.
with regards to the work that they're doing, because I'm so familiar with the projects that they're working on, and just trying to lean in, man. I'm leaning and learning. I've always I try to surround myself, and when I talk about anything, I always try to be very intentional.
Yeah.
So it wasn't no. So the Tim Fielders, the Karma Horns, and all these individuals who were in these particular spaces, I was very intentional when I actually seek them out, because I was like, man, they're in the top tier in these particular industries, man. So
Yeah.
I need to align myself with what they're doing,
Right.
and see how they're doing it at a high level, so I can be able to do stuff at a high level. And that's how you be able to build your circles and your network, because your network determines your net worth.
There you go. Awesome. Awesome. Listen, man, this was an amazing conversation. I just want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Man, I
There
appreciate
was
you.
so much, information that people can benefit from. And that's what this is all about. It's not about, the fluff.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to give them tools, resources, and some direct access to people that are designing their lives. So I just want to thank you, and man, for the people out there watching today. Today was the first episode of Design Your Life. I'm so excited about the future. So grateful, and in terms of being able to provide such a platform for you, because when I was growing up, I didn't necessarily have the answers. There were a lot of questions, but I didn't necessarily have all the answers, and I didn't know the questions to ask. So if you got anything out of this, I want you to please hit the like button and share. If you have any questions, reach out to me anytime. And in terms of the future, we're going to have our next exciting guest coming up next week. It's a surprise. We're going to bring him or her on and continue to help you push forward. And just remember this, that no matter what, the best gift that you can give yourself ever is to design your life. Remember that you're a champion, and believe it. Design your life. Peace.
Design your life. You gotta dream it, like you mean it. Embrace the vision, no need to conceal it. Feeling myself, you used to call it so bright. Aim for the stars, reach new heights. Align your life, don't let it design you. Chase your dreams, make them all come true. Dance to the rhythm, move with the beat. You're the creator, get up on your feet. Then you gotta dream it, like you mean it. Embrace the vision, no need to conceal it. Picture masterpiece, the color so bright. Aim for the stars, reach new heights. Design your life, don't let it design you. Chase your dreams, make them all come true. Dance to the rhythm, move with the beat. You're the creator, get up on your feet.